Greetings, greetings, greetings to all of my loved ones. Welcome back to another episode of Healing Wisdom with me, Empress Oracle, your favorite, realest, and of course, sexiest spiritual advisor. On behalf of Starseed Galactic Federation, I've been given access to this knowledgeable information from my Akashic Records for the purpose of helping humanity. This information has been given directly to me through life and experience as a divine channel, and any use or reproduction without the proper acknowledgement from where it came from will result in instant karma for the plagiarizing parties and or individuals, and so it is. So, really quick guys, I just wanted to share some wisdom that I have learned in this first chapter of my life. You know, I am 42 years old. I know guys, I know, say it backwards. That's how I am, for real, say it backwards, okay? But yeah. And I've learned a lot in this lifetime because I'm a healer. And what evolved spiritually people need to understand is if you are a healer, that means that you're going to have to go through a lot of harsh life lessons and experiences. You may be born into families where you don't feel as though you are a part of the family. You may end up in a lot of social groups where you feel as though you're not the same as everybody. You know, you may always feel like the black sheep or the odd man out. And 9 times out of 10, that's because you're a healer and you're meant to experience different various types of pain, such as ostracization. You like that? Sounded it out. Ostracization, which is basically being shunned, being, cast out from a group of your peers. That's what that is, being ostracized. A lot of us go through experiences like that from large social groups, whether it's in the work field, whether it's in friendship groups, and even in interpersonal relationships, as far as with your significant other or something. And a lot of times, those things, they hurt us and they cause significant amount of pain and trauma to us. And it is our job to heal and evolve from these situations. And what does not kill you, it truly does make you stronger. And what we fail to understand, a lot of people give up on their spiritual journey because they feel as though, okay, I've learned this lesson before. I feel as though I've been here before. I'm repeating this cycle. But what you don't understand is when you repeat a lesson, that's because it's something that you may have missed. So the fact that you are aware that you're repeating a lesson of something means that you're learning, right? It doesn't take just one try to be successful. So never give up on yourself on your healing journey, ever. That's what I want to say first and foremost, but also too, basically what I have learned along my healing journey, dealing with various types of individuals, different peer classes, social groups, all types of things, is that hurt people truly do hurt people. However, I have also gleaned a lot of knowledge as far as trauma and how people choose to move forward. There's different classes of people. Those are people who choose to be proactive, and those are individuals that choose to be reactive. And that also plays into trauma also too. There are people who are supposed to be healers, but instead of learning through the traumatic experiences they go through, instead they choose to hold on to that and harden their heart, and they harbor those ill feelings. And because they have not done the work, whenever I say you haven't done the work, that means that they have not taken the time to go within, to self-reflect and glean not just how the painful experience made them feel, but what they learned, what they could do differently moving forward, and how not to turn into that negative individual. A lot of people don't take the time to do that work. They say, hey, if it was good for me, it's good for anybody else. If I got hurt like this, what makes you so special? You should be able to deal with this hurt also. But people, where has that gotten us thus far as a society? It's very clear and very obvious that hurt people, and it has trickled down into our society in a way that is detrimental to all of us, whether we want to believe it or not. Hold on a second, y'all. My fan went off. Honey child. Operator error. Where were we? Yes. But that's what a lot of people need to understand. I can't help but to notice that a lot of people are absorbing their trauma, and they are really truly becoming products of their environment, and they're not seeing the cancer that is causing amongst us in our environments, even in personal interactions. That's why everybody is so weird. And unfortunately, a lot of minority communities, African American communities, not just African American, but lower economical classes of communities are not able to have certain types of medical attention, so they don't necessarily pick up on certain signs, or they were raised with stigmas that this trauma is normal. A lot of people think that certain traumas are normal. They feel like certain behaviors are normal, but we're starting to see now more and more that that behavior is not normal, because we see how it is not just affecting ourselves, but how it's affecting others. People are going crazy. People are sabotaging themselves. And it needs to come to an end. It's time for everybody to be aware. Instead of absorbing the traumas that you've been through, learn. What have you learned from that? And unfortunately, sometimes we have to learn different lessons over again, especially when it comes to love. And I can say that because I've learned that lesson many a times, not just in interpersonal relationships, but with family, with friends that I thought I would have forever. You know, friends that I considered family, different variations of love. I've had to learn that lesson repeatedly and had to understand from a third person basis, which means step outside of myself, when a person was either intentionally or unintentionally hurting me, and try to understand, well, hey, why could this person be doing this? Sometimes you have to look at yourself and say, hey, is it me? What did I do? Sometimes you have to just play the neutral party sometimes and be realistic with yourself and see where maybe you have went wrong. What cycles, what patterns are you repeating in certain relationships? If every time you feel as though your friends are straying away from you, are you trying to buy their friendship? Do you continuously do this every time? You have to pay attention to the patterns and things. And also in personal relationships also too. And then from there, that is where learning occurs, and that's where healing starts. But a lot of people are not even trying to look at those factors, because sometimes you're the one that's at fault. And a lot of times people do not have accountability. It's a hard thing to have, but it's a part of growth, it's a part of learning, and it's a part of maturity. You cannot fully hold somebody else accountable if you don't have self-accountability. Everybody plays a part in everything. Whether it's a learning experience, whether it's an experience that incurs trauma, or whether it's a healing experience. What you have to understand is every experience that you go through, it has levels to it. You're going to learn. You're going to feel, whether it's pain, whether it's trauma, whether it's heartache, whether it's loss, you're going to feel something. That's normal and that's healthy. It's healthy for you to pay attention to your feelings and ask yourself why you're feeling that way. And then you move from there. But you have to have accountability in order to do that. You have to know where you played a part in things going wrong so that it doesn't happen, so you continue that cycle. That's how you break toxic cycles. That's how you break generational curses, instead of people moving in families and, you know, energies that they know are just not conducive. It's not evolving. It's holding the family stagnant. It's holding the people stagnant. It's holding your feelings stagnant, all your relationships. Sometimes you have to call yourself on your bullshit. Sometimes you have to fix your own shit. That's why we're here. That's a part of growth and evolution this lifetime. And that's the big thing that a lot of people are missing. Instead of taking self-accountability, not just of yourself, but of everybody and everything in the situation, people just want to point fingers. And you have to understand, the same way it takes two to tango, there's always different sides and variations to a story. That's how you know that you've truly grown and evolved, when you're able to step outside of yourself and look at both parts. That's what people are not understanding. And that's where growth happens. So people need to start growing through their trauma instead of letting it fester. Because what I keep trying to tell everybody is love is the greatest power of all. And once you give anything your energy in a way that turns negative, that turns you bitter or hardens your heart, you've lost your power. You have lost your power. People need to learn to stop giving people their power in a negative way, because there are people who feed off of that. There are people who, they might know better, but they don't want to do the work. They feed off of people's negative energy. They feed off of people's hurt. They feed off of shifting your energy. There's a saying, misery loves company, and that's very real and very true. And a lot of people are not taking that into consideration when they're dealing with people. Sometimes you can see somebody and you can see that they are fighting demons. You see that they have issues. And nobody's perfect, of course. You might fuck up. You might lash out on somebody, but it's never too late to be the bigger person in the situation. It doesn't matter if it's in the beginning, the middle, or the end. It's never too late for you to be the bigger person and catch yourself, right? And it's never too late to apologize. And even if that person or that environment is not conducive for you, which means there's no growth for you, you can walk away, and it doesn't have to be in a bitter, toxic, or negative way. Because if you continue to carry that energy, you've lost the battle and you've lost the war. Your energy is turned. It shifted your happiness. That other person is going to sleep good at night, knowing they got you fucked up for real. And that's what people need to realize. Healing is for you. It's not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. When you hold on to grudges, when you hold on to negative energy and stuff, it ages you. It ages you from the inside out. It hardens you. It drains you of your power, your life source. How can you be a positive person to other people if you can't, suck shit up sometimes? Hold yourself accountable. Be the example. Everybody wants to be leaders. We got all these chiefs, no Indians. Everybody wants to be a leader and lead, but nobody's willing to do the true work that a true leader has to do to be a positive example. It's not just what you wear. It's not just what you drive. It's not just what the fuck you go around crowds and stuff like that. That's not what matters at the end of the day. It's not. All of that stuff is a facade. What do you have? If all of those things are stripped from you, what do you have to pass down to generations? What legacy do you want to leave for yourself? You want to be known as a bitter, unhealed person? Somebody let life whoop their ass and it shows on them? Especially, you came here, you have gifts. Whether you're using your gifts or not, everybody's here for a purpose. Everybody's here to learn, and everybody has gifts that they need to give to the world, right? Instead, you rather feed into this negativity. That's all I see in social media. That's all I see everywhere, just everybody feeding into negativity. Everybody rather just dwell on all the negative things that's going on and not giving people the props and the kudos that are trying and doing good and trying to raise the vibration of the energy out here. And that's ass backwards. That's not healing, guys. There's not enough therapy in the world. There's not enough ass kissers in the world where at the end of the day, you're not going to have that moment where you're going to have to be real with yourself before you pass, before you leave this earth. I think that's something that everybody needs to think about, right? I think I said my piece for tonight. I hope that this was received well because I put it out with positive intention. And this is a lesson I've had to learn repeatedly in many different ways with many different types of relationships in my life. And I've had to learn the hard way, but I learned. And instead of becoming a bitter person, I released all that negative energy. I transmuted what I couldn't into creativity and love. And I chose to be the example. Now, I'm paying it forward to you guys. So what are you going to do moving forward? It's never too late to be a better person. Have a good night. Love you all.